Howdy there, Isaac here. I see so many videos about Goku or Broly being sent to certain planets, and those are cool and all, but I always wondered, what about other characters? Specifically, a fan favorite Saiyan who many believe was wasted in Dragon Ball. Maybe this seems a little too outlandish to work, but I think it's interesting. So, let's find out what may have happened if Raditz was sent to planet Namek. The story starts now. Our story starts with Bardock and Leek discussing the incredibly suspicious order for all the Saiyans to return home. This time, remembering he has two sons, Bardock has Gine send Goku off while having Leek patch him through to Raditz using an encrypted signal so nobody can hear them speaking. The Saiyan finds a remote backwater planet, one the Frieza Force wouldn't conquer for quite some time, and tells Raditz about it. He tells his son to go and conquer it, that this is a special mission directly from Bardock himself, to prove Raditz could be a mid-class warrior. Now, Raditz is suspicious about this, but he does want to be a mid-class Saiyan, doubly so if it meant Nappa and Vegeta would stop calling him low-class trash. The Radish accepts his mission, before Nappa, Vegeta, and two other Saiyans ask what's going on. The Radish explains that he got a secret mission, saying he'd be going off-world after all. Turles and Turnip, the other two Saiyans, shrug, preparing to return to planet Vegeta, while the prince raises an eyebrow at this, but doesn't bother asking. He didn't care if Raditz stayed or left. He and Nappa could easily finish preparing the planet without the three low-class Saiyans there. And so, Raditz got in his pod and plotted a course for Namek, him traveling along with Turles and Turnip for a while before they had to go their separate ways. The three weren't super close, but Raditz respected Turles, who reminded him a lot of Bardock, and Turnip, well, he had a crush on the girl, though she also scared him, her having a power level of 1000 compared to his 600 at the time. He promised to see the two Saiyans when he got home, before blasting off to his destination. It took a couple weeks, but Raditz eventually got to his destination. He watched as his pod crash-landed, seeing the large swaths of ocean and what looked like several small villages. The Saiyan smirked, thinking destroying a planet with such a small amount of inhabitants would be easy. He exited his pod, searching the nearby landscape for high power levels, and found a couple, 2 power levels of 500 and 300 respectively. Raditz was a little nervous. These two could probably take him on together, but maybe a sneak attack on the smaller one would allow him to win this thing. Thinking of his mid-class promotion, Raditz flew off, hiding behind a boulder that was near the 2 power levels. The Saiyan expected to see the 2 strongest Namekians there, sparring or maybe even fighting each other brutally for dominance, or whatever Namex did. But to his surprise, when peering over the border, Raditz saw 2 Namekian children playing? What the hiffle was going on? Weren't these the 2 strongest life forms on this planet, and they were only children? Perhaps Namekians had a weird life cycle. They just went from adults to children, obviously. This planet would still be a piece of cake for the Radish. The Saiyan readied himself, before launching a double sundae at the smaller of the 2 children, sending it flying off into a nearby pool of water. The other Namekian got angry and decided to charge Raditz, something he did not expect. The Slugchild rammed a fist into the Saiyan's face, but he recovered and the two got into a bout of fisticuffs. Raditz was impressed with how strong this child was, but knew he could win easily, and so began toying with him. The Saiyan used his tail to smack the Namekian into the ground, before stepping on his chest and beginning to laugh.
Ha ha ha! If this is the best you have to offer, then this planet will fall to I, Raditz, mid-class warrior of the Saiyan Empire.
Ooh, it felt good to say that out loud. He had to get that promotion now.
You won't get away with hurting Sumudi. Mefla, no, Nail should be enough for you. Nail? Who's that?
Raditz checked his scouter for any higher power levels, but kept his eyes on the child.
That would be me.
Raditz's scouter suddenly read a power level of 10,000, something that caused the Saiyan's eyes to bug out of his face. He turned around to see another Namekian, this one looking a little older than the previous 2. He was holding the child he hit with a double sundae and looked like he wanted to kill Raditz.
Oh, hey, I was just playing around with this kid. Yeah, funny prank, right?
Nail burst forward, hitting Raditz harder than anyone ever had, sending the Saiyan flying into a nearby boulder. The son of Bardock simply laid there, groaning in pain and coming to the realization, yeah, that power level was correct. He tried to lay there and play possum, but Nail walked over and began beating Raditz anyways. The Namekian prodigy was absolutely livid that someone would hurt his siblings, this being the first time such a thing had ever happened. This threat had to be taken care of. He had to end this, Saiyan or whatever it was. Nail prepared to blast Raditz into oblivion, but was suddenly stopped by two people, this being Elder Mori and Mefla.
What are you doing? This creature attacked Maima and Sumudi. It needs to be destroyed,
Nail exclaimed, attempting to aim his hand back towards Raditz.
No, I recognize this creature from tales Grand Elder Guru told. This is a Saiyan child. It doesn't know any better. We should have Guru decide what to do. We are not judge, jury, or executioner, Nail.
The child scoffed, before pulling his hand away and allowing Mefla to do his thing. The older Namekian looked over Raditz, seeing how he was pretty beaten up, the Saiyan just barely conscious at this point. Mefla had Mori heal the Saiyan, and this caused Raditz's power to skyrocket all the way to 1000, just below his power in Z. But he knew there was still no chance of him beating Nail, or whoever this Mefla guy was. The older Namekian then ordered Raditz to fly with him and Nail, and the Saiyan actually complied. If it meant he got to live another day, he'd go with them. After all, Bardock only said he had to prepare the planet by himself, not that he had to do it in one day, right? The three flew across the planet, with Raditz using his scouter to read Mefla's power level, which was a whopping 15k. How in the Hiffle did any of these Namekians get that strong? They must have some sort of secret technique or transformation. That's something the aliens could do, right? Well, if all the other Namekians were soft like Mefla, perhaps Raditz could escape and hide. Perhaps take this Nail guy out with a sneak attack. Yeah, the Saiyan would just have to rely on guerrilla tactics in order to wipe out the Namekians. It was cowardly, but if it worked, it worked. Once the three got to Guru's place, Nail asked if it was a good idea bringing someone to their Grand Elder, but Mefla said it'd be fine. They explained what happened, and Guru inspected the boy, reading his mind and memories, seeing how he was the last survivor of his original platoon, and was then placed on a team with Nappa and Vegeta, two Saiyans who were cruel and made Raditz do cruel things as well. Guru could sense that Raditz was somewhat more compassionate than other Saiyans, but still had plenty of darkness within him. After a couple minutes of deliberation, the Elder Namekian made his decision. The Saiyan known as Raditz would be allowed to stay on Namek, as long as Mefla acted as his guardian. Nail went to speak out against this, but was quickly silenced by Mefla, who bowed and agreed with the decision. Raditz too disliked this, but then he realized this was probably the best outcome he could have gotten, and stayed silent. Mefla then turned to Nail and told him he was to guard Guru from now on.
What? You're still far stronger than I am. I couldn't protect Elder Guru if someone really strong came. Nail, you're far more powerful than I was at your age. In time, you will surpass me without even trying. And if you were to train, and listen to the lessons Grand Elder has, you'll become a far more capable warrior than I.
With that, Mefla told Raditz to follow him, the two leaving Nail with Guru and flying off to a nearby village. There, the older Namekian told Raditz all about how they lived, being a mostly agrarian society with everyone pitching in. The Saiyan pretty much ignored Mefla though, instead thinking of ways to defeat this race of slug people. Perhaps he could destroy all their crops and starve them out, but that quickly fell apart when Mefla explained they only needed water to survive.
Wait, how did you know what I was thinking?
Raditz yelled out, raising a fist to the Namekian.
Telepathy. Your thoughts are very loud, almost as loud as you, young Saiyan.
Mephala then began to fly off towards another village. This tour of planet Namek continued throughout the day, with Raditz being taken to various villages and meeting their respective elders, while Mephala explained the situation. Raditz had no idea why this Namekian was giving him a tour, especially if he could read his thoughts and knew what he was here for. Why let him stay if they knew he was a threat? Unless they knew he'd just get reinforcements and come back. Yeah, these guys are smart. For now, all Raditz could do was play along. And so, Mephala showed the Saiyan the last village on planet Namek, Elder Mori's village. The Elder seemed serious, but was welcoming of Raditz, though he was flanked by Maima and Sumuri on either side of him, both looking ready for a fight. Mephala then explained that he and Raditz would be staying there to help with setting up the village. The Saiyan was a little offended about this, asking why warriors like them should help civilians with farming and construction. This caused Maima to tell Raditz to shut his mouth, but Mephala quickly got between the two.
We help because we can. We have these abnormally large powers for a reason, young Saiyan. We should use them to help others. Unless you think you're not strong enough to do so.
Now this got Raditz. He could easily help build these houses and farms. That was nothing for a Saiyan of his caliber. He'd show these Namekians how it was done. And so, for the next couple of days, the son of Bardock helped around the village, doing training similar to Goku's with Master Roshi, delivering water, farming, etc. At first, most of the other Namekians were suspicious of this newcomer, but over time, they began to rely on his help, even praising him for being such a hard worker, something that just stroked the Saiyan's ego. Interestingly enough, Maima began pitching in too, him trying to build a house or till the land faster than Raditz could, and while he often failed, he still kept trying, much to the Saiyan's delight since he got to show his superiority over the Namekian. Soon, a week went by and the village was looking better than ever, perhaps even better than in the Frieza saga. And while Raditz had grown accustomed to things on Namek, he also remembered he had a mission. He didn't want to disappoint his father yet again, and so, when he got the chance, he snuck off to his pod and turned his scouter's microphone on.
Hello, Raditz to planet Vegeta. My mission has hit a bit of a stump, but I'll clear this planet in no time, I promise. Planet Vegeta was destroyed, Raditz. Nappa and I are the only Saiyans left, besides you. We now solely report to Frieza. What planet are you clearing? Nappa and I need something to do.
Raditz's heart dropped down into his stomach. Vegeta had to be joking, right? There's no way planet Vegeta was destroyed. But when confronted, the prince said it was destroyed by a stray meteorite, repeating that, once again, everyone was gone. Bardock, Gine, Turles, and Turnip, they all perished, and now Raditz never even got to say a proper goodbye. The Saiyan was all alone in the universe now. Sure, he had Vegeta and Nappa, but those two were nothing like him. He didn't enjoy offing people like they did, nor did he want to really serve under Frieza. All he ever wanted was to make his father and family proud, and now they were gone. What did that mean for Raditz? What was he supposed to do now? Wait, no. He did have some family left. Kakarot was still out there somewhere. He was sent to some place called Earth, right? Maybe he didn't have Bardock or Gine, but he still had his brother. The Saiyan began to clamber into his pod, but was stopped when his scouter pinged a power level of 15k. He knew who it was, but didn't bother turning around.
You know we can't let you leave just yet, young Saiyan,
Mephala said coldly.
Read my mind and tell me that again! You couldn't possibly understand what I'm feeling. Perhaps not, but Lord Guru went through something like this back when the cataclysm happened, and I've heard tales of the loneliness he suffered through, I being one of his first children. But to prevent another cataclysm, I cannot allow you to leave, not yet, at least.
Suddenly his scouter blew up, something that caused the Saiyan to go ballistic.
That was his only way of communicating with the remaining Saiyans, and maybe even Kakarot if he still had his.
Raditz suddenly turned around and launched a large Saturday crash at the Namekian. Once the smoke cleared, he saw Mephiles standing there, stokely as ever. His clothes damaged, but otherwise completely fine. In an instant, the Namekian was within inches of Raditz, with a fist plunged into the Saiyan's gut. Hours later, he awoke within the village he helped build, with Mephiles meditating while Mima watched him. The son of Bardock slowly sat up, his stomach still quite sore, but otherwise okay. He still wanted to leave the planet, but knew that was impossible at the moment.
Ugh, why let me live here? Why not just finish me off? If I can't leave, I'd rather perish like a real Saiyan warrior. And that's why your race was wiped out. You're intelligent, aren't you? Why don't you think for a second about why you're here? What I've been trying to tell you this whole time. You may be a Saiyan, but that doesn't mean you have to act like a brute. There's a reason your father sent you here, and your brother to Earth. Now think about that, Raditz.
The Saiyan wanted to blast the Namekian again, but knew there was some truth in that statement. His father had been suspicious regarding the Frieza Force for a while, and did contact Raditz himself to send him here. Maybe his father really did send him away just to survive. Maybe his father did see some worth in him after all. Either way, that meant Frieza, or the Force, destroyed planet Namek, or had something to do with it. And now, Raditz was the only one who knew, or wanted to do something about it, at least. With that in mind, Namek was full of powerful people who could help him. This was honestly the perfect place to be.
Thank you, Father,
Raditz said, as he got up and raised a fist to Mephiles.
All right, I'll play your game, Namekian. But once I'm too powerful for you, I'm going to Earth to meet my baby brother.
With that, we'll go through a Lion King style time skip. The young Saiyan spent the years learning what training was from Mephiles, along with Mima, who once again was competing to beat the Saiyan, and actually got pretty close on several occasions. Mima wasn't quite as stoic or untrusting as Nail was, and so he and Raditz became friends, under the pretense of the little Namekian getting revenge for Samudi, of course. As time went on, Raditz began to enjoy sparring and fighting with Mima, his Saiyan blood becoming more prominent, while his ruthlessness seemed to vanish. During this time, Nail surpassed Mephiles by a huge margin, and often visited Mori's village to remind Raditz not to do anything, which the Saiyan mocked, much to Nail's chagrin. By the time Z rolls around, the only person who could potentially beat Raditz was Nail, who had grown to a substantial 42k, with Raditz being at 25k, Mephiles at 20, and Mima at 21. Overall, Raditz had done so much good on Namek that everyone considered him an honorary Namekian, and many of the new Namekian children looked up to Raditz and Mima, especially one talented new member of the warrior clan named Cargo. Overall, things have been peaceful, and while Raditz simply wanted revenge at first, through meditation and time, he's grown to be far more calm and calculating, something his original counterpart somewhat had. Here, he still does want revenge on Frieza, but it isn't his life's goal. Instead, he wants to have a happy life with what family he has left, namely Kakarot. Speaking of him, Raditz decides to finally confront Mephiles and ground Elder Guru.
Lord Guru, I have aided in the construction of countless villages and lived amongst your kind for quite some time. I'm not sure what else I must do to prove myself, but I have to go to Earth. I cannot wait any longer.
The Saiyan went to stand up, with Nail giving him a stern look, the two knowing what would happen if Guru said no. Raditz, I've come to see you as one of my own. Do you know why you haven't been able to leave this planet prior?
Because I'm a threat? No, because none of us want you to get hurt, where none of your family, can help,
Mephiles said, stepping closer to the Saiyan. Raditz wasn't sure what to say at this. He knew they thought of him as a friend, but not family. I mean, how do you even respond to someone saying they care for you? Bardock never did that. This was a totally new interaction the Saiyan had no response to.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, I'll be fine. No need to worry about me. I'm probably the strongest Saiyan in the universe at this point.
Suddenly, Guru had a pained look on his face, and Raditz could feel several power levels suddenly disappear from across the planet. Then he felt a malevolent key. Several dark key signatures, in fact, landing on planet Namek. Was this it? Was this the eventual Frieza force invasion Raditz had always feared? The Saiyan, along with Mephilet, quickly mobilized, flying out towards Mori's village. Meanwhile, at said village, Maima and Sumudi were the only warriors left standing. The other two had already perished, while Mori was busy helping the others escape. In front of them were 5 warriors who identified themselves as the Crusher Corps.
What are you here for? We don't have anything you want, so just leave, Maima said, charging up a ki blast to fend off the warriors.
Oh, I think you have 2 things we want. First of all, this planet looks incredibly fertile. And second, do you happen to know a Saiyan named Raditz? If so, tell him his old friend, Turles, wants to talk. But that's where we're going to leave things off for now. I know this is a couple weeks too late, but thank each and every one of you for getting this channel to 300 subs. It's not a whole lot compared to other What If YouTubers, but it's a step in that direction, and more than I've ever had. So, thanks. If you enjoyed this part, I'd appreciate crash landing on the like button, or maybe competing with the subscribe button. I'm running out of things to say here, obviously, but I think I can keep creating some for a few more videos until I have to reuse things. Anyways, thank you guys once again. You have a great day or night wherever you are. That's it for now. Bye bye.